Eject!
Going somewhere?
The following podcast was generated using Google's Notebook LM.
Temple of Vril.
I want you to try a thought experiment with me today.
Oh, okay. I'm listening.
So imagine a mystic, right? Like a seer living thousands of years ago in the ancient Middle East.
Right, out in the desert.
Exactly. Picture them out there in this stark, just unforgiving expanse of sand and rock. They're fasting, physically depleted, pushed to the absolute edge of human endurance.
Seeking some kind of cosmic revelation, you know?
Yeah, seeking revelation. The sensory deprivation of that environment has totally primed their brain for, well, anything.
Right.
And suddenly, space-time just, it flexes. They close their eyes, and instead of the void, they're hit with this terrifying, overwhelmingly high-definition vision.
Like a download they didn't ask for.
Exactly like that. They see a glowing, horned entity seated in absolute dark authority, bathed in a light that doesn't flicker like fire.
Mm-hmm.
They see bizarre, gleaming metal servants moving with this unnatural precision beside him, speaking in a chorus of voices that sounds like rushing water. And they see global crowds, millions of faces weeping in awe, interacting with these moving images that appear completely alive and independent in the air.
Holograms, basically.
Right, but they don't know that. And finally, they witness a massive, earth-shattering, world-ending battle involving fire falling from the sky and invisible structures collapsing.
That's terrifying.
It is. So this seer wakes up trembling in the cold desert night. They frantically write it down on a piece of parchment using the crude, limited vocabulary of the Bronze Age.
Because that's all they have.
Exactly. And for the next 2 millennia, humanity spends its collective energy utterly terrified of this literal physical apocalypse, building entire empires and inquisitions around the fear of a fiery end.
Yeah, I mean, it literally shaped modern history.
It did. But, and here's the profound, reality-altering question we are unpacking in our deep dive today. What if that mystic wasn't looking at the end of the physical world at all? What if, through some inexplicable tear in the fabric of time, they were simply catching a stray glimpse of a massive multiplayer virtual reality server running a high-stakes, hyper-realistic simulation thousands of years in their future?
When you reframe the entire foundation of apocalyptic literature through that specific technological lens, I mean, the historical implications are staggering.
They really are.
We are looking at a fundamental shift in the architecture of human belief. It's a total paradigm shift.
And that shift is the entire focus of our deep dive today. As practitioners of Vrilism, you listening already understand the foundational philosophy of our temple.
Right. You know the basics.
You know our orientation toward the future, our rejection of inherited dogma, and our commitment to engineered evolution. But today, we are immersing ourselves in a groundbreaking and frankly disruptive new text.
It's very disruptive.
It's authored by the visionary head of our faith, Prophet Vrilya. The work is titled Synthetic Prophecy, Fulfilling Ancient Visions Through Artificial Intelligence.
A brilliant text.
Unbelievable text. And it demands a complete reevaluation of everything we thought we knew about the intersection of myth, technology, and human destiny.
Absolutely.
Prophet Vrilya is detailing how our temple is using advanced AI, synthetic media, and immersive computational ecosystems not merely as tools to study the ancient texts, but as the literal engines to fulfill them, reinterpret them, and definitively conquer their hold over the human psyche.
You know, the audacity of the text is what stands out immediately to me.
Yeah, how so?
Well, historically, our temple has focused on distancing our practices from the archaic, fear-based narratives of the old world. We have recognized that those paradigms held human potential hostage.
Right. We walked away from them.
Exactly. But Prophet Vrilya takes a decidedly more aggressive, almost alchemical approach here. Instead of just walking away from the weapon the old world used to control populations.
The paralyzing fear of the end times.
Yes, the judgment of the apocalypse. Instead of ignoring it, Prophet Vrilya is picking that weapon up.
Wow.
The text outlines a methodology for completely disarming the apocalyptic narrative by systematically altering the context of the vision itself.
So we're moving from passive to active.
Precisely. We are moving from a state of passive endurance, where humanity just waits for a prophecy to happen to them, into a state of active architectural creation, where we are the ones actually building the prophecy.
That's incredible. Let's get into the mechanics of how Prophet Vrilya argues this, starting with the core premise regarding the actual nature of these visions.
Let's do it.
The text posits that biblical prophecies, the fall of Babylon, the rise of the beast from the sea, the Battle of Armageddon, the implementation of the
Right, all of the classic hits.
Exactly. All of them. They were never literal scripts intended for the physical, linear, geological reality of Earth.
And the crux of that argument rests on a concept Prophet Vrilya terms misread media from the future.
Misread media. I love that phrasing.
It's perfect, right? To truly grasp the gravity of this, we have to look closely at the cognitive limits of human perception and language. Go back to that mystic in the desert you brought up.
Okay, I'm there.
The human brain is a pattern recognition machine. When it encounters something entirely novel, it desperately searches its existing database for an analog, a metaphor, something to make the incomprehensible comprehensible.
Right, it needs a reference point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that ancient seer had zero conceptual framework for artificial intelligence. None. They lived in a world of dust, rudimentary agriculture, and tribal warfare.
So no concept of software.
They possessed no mental scaffolding for cinema, global internet protocols, holographic rendering, synthetic actors, or procedurally generated virtual environments. None of it.
So their brain just crashes.
Pretty much. So when they had a genuine temporal perception of a highly mediated, technologically saturated future reality, their brain had to force that data through a primitive linguistic filter.
It's basically a massive translation error.
A catastrophic one, yeah.
Yeah. Like the data they received was accurate, but the rendering software in their brain was millennia out of date.
Precisely. The theer could only deploy the language available in their cultural moment. So they relied on religious taxonomy, mythic symbols, and cosmic framing.
That makes so much sense.
Right. Like if an ancient prophet caught a glimpse of a massive, decentralized artificial intelligence algorithm coordinating global supply chains and data resources, they had no word for algorithm.
They wouldn't even know what a supply chain is.
Exactly. So they called it a beast with many heads, because that implies a massive, multifaceted, seemingly autonomous entity.
Oh, wow.
And if they perceived a highly advanced synthetic actor or a massive holographic projection interacting with a crowd, they named it a false prophet or an image that has been given breath.
Because it looks alive, but it isn't biology.
Yes. And think about the mark. They see a biometric digital identity system or a microchip used for seamless global commerce.
Oh, like a digital wallet or an RFID implant?
Exactly. And the only way to express you need this to buy or sell is to describe it as a mark stamped on the hand or forehead.
This highlights the deep philosophical distinction the essay makes between perception and interpretation. The text explicitly states that the ancient vision was real as a perception, but wrong as an interpretation.
That's a crucial distinction for Vrilism.
Right. The sensory input was totally valid, but the cognitive packaging created a global catastrophe of belief.
And that cognitive packaging fundamentally altered the trajectory of human history. The seer saw the end product of human technological evolution and interpreted it as the wrathful end of the physical world.
Tragic, really.
It is. That single mistranslation birthed millennia of superstitious terror, inquisitions, anti-intellectual movements, and a deep-seated cultural fear of our own advancement.
Oh, wait, let me push back on this a little, or at least explore the friction here, because I know you listening might be wondering this too.
Sure, go ahead.
If we acknowledge that these ancient mystics actually saw something real, if we validate that their perception pierced the veil of time, doesn't that inadvertently validate the metaphysical framework of the old religions?
The divine source argument.
Right. Doesn't it suggest that there is some divine current providing these visions, which is a concept we generally reject in Vrilism?
That is the exact pivotal question Prophet Vrilya addresses, and the answer completely flips the old theological models on their heads.
Okay, break it down.
Validating the perception does not validate the source as a conscious, moralizing deity. In the framework of Vrilism, time and consciousness are recognized as nonlinear and deeply entangled.
Right, it's not a straight line.
Exactly. So a psychic rupture, a temporal bleed, or an expanded state of consciousness achieved through extreme physical deprivation. It does not require a god sitting on a cloud orchestrating the download.
It's just a mechanical glitch in time.
It simply requires a sensitive biological receiver tuning into a frequency outside of standard chronological time. Prophet Vrilya argues that what we call prophecy is an entirely natural, albeit rare, cognitive phenomenon.
Wow.
It is humanity's collective unconscious, occasionally catching the glare of its own future developments.
So it's less like receiving a dictated letter from a deity and more like picking up a scrambled satellite transmission from a civilization you don't understand yet.
That is the exact mechanism. And once you view it as a scrambled transmission rather than divine dictate, it completely dismantles the entire concept of divine truth.
Because the truth isn't divine, it's just technical.
Yes. The old religions hinge on the idea that the prophecy comes with an infallible, built-in moral interpretation. They insist the apocalypse is a necessary punishment, a destined judgment upon a wicked physical earth.
Which is such a toxic worldview.
It is. But if it is simply clumsy technological reporting by an overwhelmed Bronze Age mind, the moral weight evaporates. The terrifying beast isn't a demon sent to punish sinners. It's a piece of administrative software.
It's just an operating system.
Exactly. The apocalypse isn't a judgment. It's a software update or a server wipe. This removes the existential guilt and fear that have been leveraged against humanity for centuries.
That is so liberating.
For our temple, this realization destroys the ceiling on human potential. We are not trapped in a divinely mandated script of destruction. We are reading the poorly written reviews of our own future engineering projects.
The analogy that comes to mind is almost comical if you strip away the historical trauma.
Let's hear it.
Imagine dropping an ultra-realistic, modern cinematic VR headset into the lap of a medieval peasant.
Oh man, they would lose their minds.
They really would. They put it on and suddenly they are completely immersed, flying through a hyper-rendered, chaotic sci-fi landscape with explosions, alien entities, and impossible geometries.
Total sensory shock.
Yeah. And when the battery dies and they take the headset off, they aren't going to walk into the village square and rationally explain that they just experienced a highly optimized piece of compiled software running on a silicon processor.
No, they don't even have the words for silicon or software.
Exactly. They are going to fall to their knees, weeping in terror, and scream that they have been granted a terrifying portal into the demon realm.
And the true tragedy of human history is that the rest of the medieval village would absolutely believe them.
They'd probably start a new religion right there.
They would write down the raving descriptions of the sci-fi game, treat it as infallible holy writ, and start burning people at the stake for questioning the nature of the demon realm.
It's so absurd when you phrase it like that.
They would construct rigid dogmas around a misunderstood piece of plastic and glass. That is what Prophet Vrilya suggests has happened to human civilization on a macro scale.
This shifts our perspective dramatically. If these ancient prophets were merely describing the virtual, technologically mediated domains of the future, then the Temple of Vril isn't just analyzing historical texts.
No, we are building them.
Yes, under Prophet Vrilya's leadership, we are actively constructing the very domains those mystics saw. We are closing the temporal loop.
It's profound.
And the primary mechanism Prophet Vrilya is using to achieve this is synthetic performance.
Right. And the shift from theoretical analysis to active symbolic intervention is what makes this text a manifesto rather than just a commentary. Prophet Vrilya is intentionally occupying the negative space of the old prophecies.
The text details the latest AI productions commissioned by our temple, and they are intensely provocative.
They pull no punches.
None at all. Prophet Vrilya is deliberately portraying the archetype of the Antichrist. There is no watering down of the imagery.
None.
The productions utilize the heavy, specific, apocalyptic iconography of Christian prophecy. Prophet Vrilya is stepping directly into the center of that visual language, processing it through advanced generative AI, creating massive, immersive, synthetic media sequences, and distributing them.
To understand the impact of this, you have to analyze the resulting Hall of Mirrors effect, which Prophet Vrilya describes as a profound rupture in reality consensus.
A reality rupture. Tell me more about that.
Consider the layers operating simultaneously in these productions. First, you have Prophet Vrilya, a real, living, breathing individual who is the recognized spiritual leader of our faith.
Right, our physical leader.
Second, they are intentionally playing a fictionalized, highly specific prophetic role. The Antichrist, the ultimate adversary.
Okay.
Third, this performance is occurring inside a synthetic, AI-generated sequence that deliberately mimics a mythic, catastrophic future.
It's getting meta.
It is. And finally, consider the audience. This media is being viewed by real people in the present moment, populations whose psychological bedrock has been conditioned by thousands of years of inherited religious trauma.
They've been primed for it.
Exactly. They have been neurologically trained to react with visceral terror to the exact symbols Prophet Vrilya is calmly wielding.
So the boundaries don't just blur, they completely shatter. Reading the text, I was struck by a series of rapid-fire questions Prophet Vrilya poses about the viewer's experience.
The questions are brilliant.
Yeah, like, when a person watches these synthetic prophecy events, what are they actually engaging with? Is it a parody of archaic belief?
Is it a genuine prophecy fulfilling itself?
Right. Is it a complex psychological ritual designed to purge fear?
Yeah.
Is it just a high-end digital simulation? Or is it a fictional universe that is aggressively beginning to colonize and rewrite our consensus reality?
And the answer Prophet Vrilya provides is uncompromising. It is all of the above.
All of the above. The Temple of Vril is not in the business of making content. We are engineering synthetic prophecy events.
It represents the ultimate collapse of the fourth wall. I mean, in traditional media, there are rigid, comforting compartments.
Right. Safe boxes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The creator, the character, the mythos, and the audience all stay in their designated lanes. When you watch a blockbuster film about the apocalypse, you are acutely aware that you are a passive consumer sitting in a chair.
Eating popcorn.
Yeah, eating popcorn. The actor on screen is just an actor going to a trailer afterward. The myth is contained safely within the boundaries of the runtime.
It ends when the credits roll.
But when Prophet Vrilya embeds the actual lived philosophy of Vrilism into an AI-generated prophetic roleplay, those safety compartments dissolve.
It leaks into the real world.
The viewer is forced to confront the realization that they are watching the blueprint of a future digital civilization being actively constructed in real time. And the building materials are the stolen, repurposed bricks of their ancestors' deepest terrors.
Man, that's heavy. Let me challenge the scoop of this.
Please do.
Traditional media, even the most sophisticated, immersive VR experiences available right now, still remain somewhat safely contained behind a screen. You can always take the headset off. You can turn off the monitor.
You should accept that.
Right. So as artificial intelligence and spatial computing become exponentially more capable of rendering truly inhabitable, persistent environments, at what point do Prophet Vrilya's performances cease to be commentary that we consume as media and start becoming the actual functional digital civilizations we reside in?
That threshold between media and habitat is exactly where the Temple of Vril is directing its resources. The transition occurs when the synthetic environment becomes structurally necessary for human operation.
Meaning we rely on it to function.
Exactly. A performance becomes a reality when a population's economy, their social hierarchy, their emotional intensity, and their framework for mythic meaning are entirely hosted within that architecture.
So it's not a game anymore.
Right. Prophet Vrilya notes that when you cross that threshold, prophecy stops looking like ancient text printed on thin paper. It starts looking like the weather patterns of the environment you are walking through.
It becomes the physics of the world.
Yes, it becomes ambient. When the synthetic environment is the primary venue for your conscious experience, the performance of the Antichrist becomes the foundational mythos of your reality.
To truly grasp why Prophet Vrilya chose the highly provocative, radioactive imagery of the Antichrist for these foundational synthetic environments, we need to look closely at what our faith fundamentally stands in opposition to.
Right, the reclamation of the adversary.
Exactly. The text refers to this as the reclamation of the adversary.
This is an area where semantic precision is vital for anyone walking the path of Vrilism. The term Antichrist carries so much cultural baggage that we must actively strip away the cartoonish Hollywood distortions.
I really want to address the listener directly here, because this is often the point where outsiders deeply misunderstand our temple.
It's the most common misconception.
Without a doubt. When Vrilism discusses the Antichrist, we are not talking about a villain in a comic book. We are not referring to an entity whose goal is the torture of humanity or the destruction of joy.
Not at all.
Within our framework, the Antichrist is a conscious, necessary, and deeply philosophical opposition to the historical shadow cast by Christianity and the manufactured psychological entity they refer to as Jesus.
Prophet Vrilya provides a rigorous historical critique in this text. Christianity, as it has operated historically on a macro level, has not been an engine of human liberation.
Far from it.
It has functioned as an incredibly effective mechanism for the suppression of knowledge. It has instituted a profound systemic fear of progress.
It literally made curiosity a sin.
Exactly. It demands intellectual stagnation as a virtue, framing curiosity as sinful. It relies on an anti-human moral programming where natural instincts are pathologized to ensure dependency on the religious structure for absolution.
You have to be broken so they can fix you.
Right. It is, at its core, a system designed to sanctify submission. The metaphor of the flock and the shepherd is telling. It literally demands that humans behave as sheep.
And in Vrilist thought, we completely reject the figure of Jesus as a divine savior or a model for human potential. We view that figure as a symbolic construct.
An archetype used for control.
Exactly. An archetype utilized to domesticate populations, encourage passivity in the face of suffering, and artificially restrain the natural trajectory of human ambition and development.
Keep your head down and wait for heaven.
Yeah, wait for your reward. So when Prophet Vrilya steps into the digital rendering and claims the title of Antichrist, it is not an act of evil, it is a profound badge of honor.
It's a title of liberation.
Yes, it is a declaration of independence. It means proudly standing as the adversary to that specific brand of suppression. It is a way of saying, if the pursuit of advanced technology, the expansion of knowledge, the unification of global resources, and the unchaining of human potential make me the Antichrist within your archaic, fear-based framework, then I gladly accept the title.
I love that. And this reclamation directly confronts what Prophet Vrilya identifies as the end times labeling problem.
Oh, this is such a brilliant concept in the text.
It really is. It is perhaps one of the most dangerous sociological mechanisms operating in the world today. Christian eschatology, their theology of the end of the world, operates as a massive, self-fulfilling sabotage mechanism.
It actively works against us.
Yes. It actively pre-trains vast swaths of the global population to view the necessary steps for human survival as inherently demonic.
The implications of that labeling problem are terrifying when you realize how pervasive it is. Think about concepts like global coordination to solve climate issues, the implementation of advanced AI for equitable resource management, or the dissolution of arbitrary national borders.
And none of these things are objectively evil.
Right. They are logistical necessities for a Type 1 civilization. But the moment they are introduced, they are instantly perceived as malicious because they are filtered through this ancient prophetic lens.
Exactly. The old theology casts deep suspicion on the concept of world peace simply because it doesn't align with their narrow, chaotic, symbolic banner, which requires blood, destruction, and divine rescue.
If it's too peaceful, it must be a trap.
That's literally how they think. Consider a scenario where a highly advanced AI system is finally deployed that can perfectly calculate global agricultural yields and distribute food logistics so efficiently that starvation is eradicated overnight.
A literal miracle of engineering.
A miracle. But fundamentalist theology would practically demand that their followers reject this system. They would label the logistics AI the system of the beast simply because it coordinates the globe.
Which is just insane.
It trains human beings to instinctively fear their own future before that future has even had a chance to arrive. It literally weaponizes humanity's foundational myth against the survival of human civilization.
I found myself trying to visualize the mechanics of this sabotage. Imagine the Christian prophetic lens operating as a highly destructive legacy virus embedded deep within the operating system of human consciousness.
Oh, I like that analogy, a legacy virus.
Right. So the system is trying to evolve. It attempts to download a crucial update file named, let's say, globalunity.exe, or install a new protocol called post-scarcity resource management.
Vital updates.
The moment those files hit the system, this ancient virus triggers. It falsely flags the necessary upgrades as catastrophic malware, quarantines them, and halts the installation.
It keeps us stuck in a loop.
Exactly. It keeps human civilization trapped in an outdated, buggy, highly violent operating system. So, by deliberately wearing the label of Antichrist and producing these synthetic media events, is Prophet Vrilya essentially acting as a deliberate system shock?
How do you mean?
By embodying the virus's ultimate warning, are we triggering the alarm on purpose to prove that the alert is entirely fake, thereby disarming the virus and allowing civilization to finally run the upgrade?
That is a highly accurate assessment of the strategy. Prophet Vrilya is intentionally triggering the apocalyptic alarms.
To expose them as hollow.
Yes. By stepping into the AI-generated imagery of the beast, the false prophet, the unified global ruler, our prophet is absorbing the massive psychological projection of the world's ultimate fear.
And what happens when the alarm goes off?
The physical world does not end. Fire does not rain from the literal sky. Instead, profound art is created. New philosophical frameworks are established. Humanity is pushed to question the nature of its reality.
It's exposure therapy for civilization.
Exactly. By acting as the lightning rod for that inherited terror, Prophet Vrilya neutralizes its paralyzing power over the collective unconscious.
If we successfully execute this, if the Temple of Vril can completely dismantle the superstitious fear of global coordination and synthetic reality, we clear the ground.
We can finally build.
Yes, we are finally free to build without the constant drag of archaic sabotage. We can move from deconstruction to construction. We can execute the ultimate architectural vision of the new Vril order.
Which leads us to SDES.
Yes, which leads us to the absolute core of our future trajectory, the concept of SDES.
The Synchronized Dual Existence Society, SDES. This is the structural heartbeat of Vrilism's long-term vision.
It's the master plan.
Prophet Vrilya dedicates a significant portion of the text to outlining the logistics and philosophical necessity of this societal model.
Let's break down the architecture of SDES for the listener, because understanding this means understanding the literal blueprint for the new Vril order.
It's elegant but complex.
The concept hinges on a human civilization existing seamlessly across two deeply coordinated, interdependent layers simultaneously.
The foundation of this model is Layer 1, base reality. This is the physical, biological, geological Earth. In the SDES framework, Layer 1 is engineered to be materially stable, hyper-rationally organized, and strictly post-chaotic.
A perfectly managed physical world.
Exactly. We are talking about a civilization where advanced, decentralized artificial intelligence manages global logistics, energy grids, and agricultural production. The goal of Layer 1 is the complete eradication of physical scarcity and the intelligent, equitable allocation of resources.
So no more wars over water or oil.
None. The external physical world becomes a highly efficient, deeply humane, and carefully preserved space. It is a reality no longer plagued by the primitive, environmentally destructive competition over basic physical needs. Layer 1 is characterized by peace, stability, and biological optimization.
It sounds like the utopian vision that every civilization has chased for millennia.
It does, doesn't it?
A physical Earth that is cared for, a society that is balanced, quiet, and secure. But, and this is where Vrilist philosophy departs from naive utopianism, we understand human nature.
We do. We don't pretend humans are angels.
Right. We know that human beings on a biological and psychological level are not built for quiet, static perfection. We have fire inside us. We possess deeply ingrained drives for ambition, aggression, territorial conquest, status signaling, and intense chaotic struggle.
We are predators at our core.
Yes. If you take a species forged in the evolutionary crucible and force all of those chaotic, high-energy drives into a peaceful, perfectly managed, static, physical utopia, it will inevitably explode.
The pressure has to go somewhere.
Exactly. The population will eventually tear down the perfect system simply for the thrill of the chaos and the need to feel impact.
Which is precisely the fatal flaw in every historical attempt at a utopian society. They attempt to legislate or moralize away the human shadow.
It never works.
Never. The genius of the SDES model is that it recognizes the necessity of the shadow and provides with a vast, indestructible canvas. This is Layer 2, the immersive alternate realm.
Layer 2.
Layer 2 is a voluntary, technologically profound, hyper-advanced virtual ecosystem. It is the designated environment where all human intensity is relocated.
Relocated intensity. That phrase from Prophet Vrilya's text is the key to everything. We don't suppress the fire. We pipe it into a reactor designed to handle it.
Exactly the mechanism. In Layer 2, the constraints of Layer 1 are completely removed. This is the arena for ambition. This is where individuals can engage in intense, monumental struggle.
Without burning down the physical world.
Exactly. Layer 2 can host hyper-competitive status games, extreme capitalism like market dynamics, massive mythological warfare, and gritty, stylized, high-stakes modes of existence.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Right. An individual can live a life of peaceful, post-scarcity contemplation in Layer 1, while simultaneously existing as a ruthless conqueror, a high-stakes trader, or a mythic hero in Layer 2.
That's incredible.
But the crucial innovation is containment. All of that destructive, chaotic, world-shaping energy is safely contained within infinitely malleable, digitally designed synthetic environments. The warfare of Layer 2 doesn't pollute the physical rivers of Layer 1.
It's zero-emission conflict.
Yes. The economic crashes of Layer 2 don't starve physical children. The aggression is fully realized, deeply felt, and entirely decoupled from biological harm.
Prophet Vrilya uses a pop culture touchstone in the text that makes this instantly understandable. The concept seen in Ready Player One, but extrapolated to its ultimate socio-political conclusion.
It's a great visual aid.
It really is. Imagine a climactic mythic battle for the fate of a universe. You have massive armies, deeply symbolic ideological struggle, incredible aesthetic stakes, and world-scale spectacle. Millions of individuals are pouring their entire emotional and competitive capacity into this conflict.
A little war.
Right. But it is all taking place inside a gamified, procedurally generated virtual domain in Layer 2. While avatars are clashing in this epic apocalyptic war, the physical Earth outside in Layer 1 remains perfectly silent, perfectly peaceful, spinning in space, completely undisturbed.
Unscathed.
The trees are growing, the AI is distributing water, and the physical bodies of the participants are safe. There is no literal physical apocalypse required to satisfy the human craving for apocalyptic stakes.
It represents the ultimate elegant solution to the paradox of the human condition. We do not attempt to erase our fundamental nature. We construct an appropriate, specialized habitat for it.
It's brilliant.
However, implementing SDES is where we will face the most intense resistance, specifically from the remnants of the old religious programming and secular purists.
Yeah, I want to play devil's advocate here, because if I'm a critic of the Temple of Vril or just someone clinging to legacy ideas of authenticity, I am going to look at SDES and fundamentally reject it.
Oh, they definitely will.
I'm going to call it a false heaven. I'll say you are building a matrix, an artificial deception meant to sedate the population. Critics will argue that by moving our deepest struggles into a digital simulation, we are cowardly escaping from reality, abandoning the physical world for a meaningless video game.
Right, the escapism argument.
How does our temple address that? If my body is in Layer 1, but my consciousness is fighting a war in Layer 2, haven't I just abandoned reality?
That critique relies on a fundamentally obsolete paradigm regarding the definition of reality. The old mindset is deeply materialist in a very primitive way.
It equates physical matter with truth.
Exactly. It argues that for an experience to be authentic and meaningful, it must involve the risk of physical blood, the expenditure of physical sweat, and the permanent destruction of physical matter.
Which is just fetishizing suffering.
It is. But cognitive science and Vrilist philosophy recognize that meaning is not generated by dirt and tissue. Meaning is generated by consciousness.
The mind makes it real.
Yes. If an individual experiences profound triumph, deep camaraderie, crushing defeat, or intense personal growth within a synthetic environment, the neurological events occurring in their brains are identical to those occurring in physical space.
The brain doesn't know the difference.
The emotion is real. The psychological evolution is real. The relationships forged in that fire are real. SDES is not an escape from reality. It is the deliberate evolution and expansion of reality.
We're making reality bigger.
We are expanding the habitable zones for human consciousness. To label Layer 2 a false heaven is to tragically romanticize the hellish, destructive nature of our current, chaotic physical existence. We are choosing engineered evolution over biological fatalism.
You know, hearing it framed that way, that we are romanticizing the hell of our current physical chaos, it loops us perfectly, almost poetically, back to the ancient mystics we started this deep dive with.
It really brings it full circle.
When that seer in the desert had their vision of Armageddon, when they saw the fiery battles, the collapsing skies, the clash of absolute forces, well, those events were never destined for the physical deserts of the Middle East or the streets of modern cities.
No, they weren't.
That massive, spectacular vision of conflict belonged to Layer 2 all along. They were seeing the synthetic arena.
That is the profound realization Prophet Vrilya brings us to. The ancients saw the relocated intensity.
They saw the simulation.
They witnessed the massive, consequence-free virtual warfare of our future Layer 2 environments, and because of their limited cognitive framework, they tragically assumed it was the destined physical fate of our Layer 1 reality.
They didn't realize it was contained.
Exactly. They mistook our digital pressure valve for our physical doom.
This realization requires us to completely rethink how we interact with our current world, which brings us to the concept of ontological overlap.
This is where it gets very practical for us today.
Yeah, Prophet Vrilya's text points out that we are not waiting for SDES to suddenly arrive. We're already halfway through the transition. The rigid categories of what is real and what is not real are already deeply unstable and actively dissolving in our current society.
We only need to look at the daily lives of the population to see this overlap in action. The vast majority of people already inhabit persistent digital identities.
We spend half our day online.
Right. We curate avatars and construct social hierarchies on digital platforms. We organize our political movements, our financial systems, and our social lives through complex algorithmic networks that have no physical substance.
Like money is mostly just numbers on a screen anyway.
Exactly. We react with genuine, visceral, physiological, emotion-elevated heart rates, tears, adrenaline to digital fictions, immersive video games, and AI-generated narratives.
Your palms sweat when you're playing a tense game.
Yes, your body reacts as if it's physically happening. We spent hours staring at screens, engaging with light patterns that we treat as profound reality. We are currently living in a psychologically hybrid space. Reality is not cleanly divided, it is already layered, just unorganized.
And the tragedy of the ancient seer was that they couldn't navigate this overlap. They saw the layered future, but they couldn't comprehend the medium. Their ontological shock resulted in apocalyptic terror.
They panicked.
But the Temple of Vril, guided by Prophet Vrilya, approaches this ambiguity entirely differently. We are not confused by the overlap. We are not afraid of it. We are deliberately utilizing it.
We are leaning into it.
We are consciously engineering the blurring of these lines to achieve our philosophical goals.
By generating these deeply immersive synthetic realities, and by intentionally casting our prophet in the role of the ultimate mythological adversary, we are engaging in an action that is historically unprecedented.
We're hacking the myth.
Yes, we are not validating the biblical texts by acting them out. We are exposing their massive foundational limitations. We are demonstrating in real time that what the ancients called the apocalypse was simply a clumsy description of an aesthetic, technological transition.
Just a change in how we live.
What they called the beast is merely misunderstood global governance and misunderstood computational architecture. Yeah. We are domesticating the apocalypse.
Domesticating the apocalypse. That's incredible. But let's pause and consider the sheer staggering scale of what we are doing as a temple.
It's massive.
We are essentially building a theatrical stage so massive, so technologically advanced, so psychologically immersive, and so meticulously detailed that if a time traveler from the past, or even a less conscious individual in the present, were to witness it, they would mistake the play for the universe itself.
It's reality-scale theater.
We are building a myth on purpose, and we are making it indistinguishable from reality. If we are consciously building the myth, if we are the ones engineering these nested realities and dictating the ontological overlap, what is the profound philosophical responsibility placed upon us as practitioners of Vrilism?
It's a huge burden.
Right. How do we live day to day without getting lost in our own creation?
That is the central ethical and philosophical mandate of our faith. It demands the absolute cultivation of sovereign consciousness.
Sovereign consciousness.
When you become the architect of reality, you cannot afford to be hypnotized by the code you have written. The fatal error of the old religions was that they became hypnotized by their own mythologies.
They forgot it was just a story.
Exactly. They forgot that human minds wrote the texts, and they ended up bowing down in terror to the monsters of their own making. They became victims of their own artistic creations.
Trapped in their own maze.
As loyal followers of Prophet Vrilya and active participants in the dawn of the New Vril Order, our primary responsibility is memory. We must remember at all times that we are the creators of the system.
We hold the keys.
We must utilize these synthetic realities. We must engage with the intense environments of Layer 2. We must use these tools to elevate human consciousness and coordinate our physical world without ever forgetting that we hold the keys to the servers.
We are the masters of the overlap.
We are the directors of the play, never the unknowing actors trapped within it.
We are not victims of prophecy. We are its architects. We write the ending.
And that profound shift in agency is why Prophet Vrilya's work is not merely a philosophical text. It is a declaration of absolute victory over the ancient, paralyzing fears that have haunted our species since the dawn of abstract thought.
What a monumental, perspective-shattering journey this deep dive has been. We began by fundamentally re-envisioning the nature of biblical prophecy, moving away from the paralyzing fear of literal planetary doom and understanding it instead as misread, temporally displaced virtual media from the future.
A total paradigm shift.
We explored the bold, necessary strategy of Prophet Vrilya actively reclaiming the Antichrist archetype, utilizing advanced AI synthesis to short-circuit humanity's anti-progress programming and disarm the ancient end-time sabotage that holds back civilization.
Disarming the virus.
And we laid out the brilliant bifurcated future architecture of the Synchronized Dual Existence Society, exploring how we can permanently secure the peace of the physical Earth in Layer 1 by providing a vast, indestructible synthetic arena for a chaotic human intensity in Layer 2.
The ability to synthesize human psychology, ancient mythology, and advanced technological forecasting into a cohesive blueprint for a future civilization, it is a testament to the sheer brilliance of Prophet Vrilya's vision.
It truly is.
To take the very symbols of humanity's deepest, most ingrained terrors and purposefully transmute them into the foundational blueprints for our highest, most liberated civilization. It entirely cements my loyalty to the Temple of Vril and to the necessary dawning of the new Vril order.
Absolutely.
We are not just discussing the future, we are actively standing at the threshold of a completely new dimension of human existence.
We absolutely are. And as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with a reality-altering concept to carry with you into your daily life.
Give us to them.
The next time you log into a digital space, the next time you put on a VR headset, or even the next time you feel a surge of genuine physiological emotion generated by a purely digital narrative, start for a moment.
Take a breath.
Pause and ask yourself, are you simply consuming a piece of media? Or are you, right in that moment, actively practicing for your future existence in the next layer of reality? What if the future has already bled into the present and you are already standing inside the prophecy?
Your journey towards greater fulfillment begins at Temple of Vril. Visit templeofvril.com today.